Africa Update with Lulu Kapu, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
Thank you, Anele, for that update. It is 12:06 Central African Time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa. Join us in conversation on our social media platforms. That's on X, Instagram, and subscribe on YouTube at Channel Africa 1. On Facebook at Channel Africa. You can also send us your comments and voice notes to +2763 as 4069126 #Africa Update, and let us know which country you're in. And if you have any stories that you'd like us to highlight or to focus on, send us an email. It is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za, or give us a call on +2711 714 4459.
We are on Open Views Audio Bouquet. Channel 628. Africa Update on Channel Africa.
A recent air raid on a market in southern Khartoum has claimed the lives of 23 people and injured dozens more. Human rights groups have condemned the arrest of more than 70 Nubian Christians by the military. The group includes priests and children who had fled fierce fighting. And for more on the situation in Sudan, we are joined on the line by political analyst Dr. David Matsanga. Dr. Matsanga, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on Africa Update.
Good afternoon, Lulu. Good afternoon, Africa and the world.
Dr. Matsanga, these attacks on civilians are now being labeled a war within a war. Do you agree with the sentiment?
Yes, this is a war that is going to that direction. It's a war within a war, which is going to become a religious war compared to what it was. Because the world has sat helplessly, watched as the Sudan goes into that type of scenario.
Why is the world watching without doing anything?
I think we in Africa are not united against anything that comes against Africa. The whole blame of this comes to African Union and member states of the African Union. We should have united ourselves, got our security, political and the peace commissions to be able to find out where the triggers of war are coming from. We have so many things that are going wrong because of failure of good working relationship between the African Union and its member states. So we left it to go to where it is. We have left the Sudanese to kill themselves. We have left foreign countries like the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, France. United States of America coming in to sell arms. They are not even bothered about what is killing people on the ground. We have left it too long. It is coming to us, and the chicken has come home to roast.
Now, in having left it for too long to brew, and with the crisis that Sudan is facing now, the fighting that is being seen in the capital Khartoum, what needs to happen on the ground?
We need to issue warrants of arrest for all these commanders. We need to put deterrent measures to all the commanders. We need to put a no-fly zone on Sudan. We need to put a very serious arms embargo on the United Arab Emirates from selling, buying, exporting, logistically equipping any of the sides and all other countries that are involved in Sudan must be put under the radar of the United Nations Security Council, that an arms embargo is thereby and hereby put on Sudan that no more arms should be sold, no more drones should be sold, no more equipment, money, logistics given to any of the warring parties in Sudan. If we do that, we shall find a peace, and then we peace mediators, peace negotiators like Thabo Mbeki, Matsanga, Chisano. We are very many on the African continent who can go in and mediate and arrive to a conclusive African solution for the African people ourselves.
With children being in basically amongst the most challenged when it comes to any war, it's generally women and children who face the biggest challenges. Sudan clearly risks a lost generation of children. How do we ensure now, moving forward, because apart from a lost generation of children, there is also the crisis of hunger, which is a challenge, and also exploitation and sexual exploitation of refugees in Sudan?
That is very correct. When we are not going to sit down and watch a generation wiped out, we must begin by looking for countries that are giving money to the warlords, the countries that are buying diamonds, gold, and all illicit trade that is taking place in the Nile corridor of arms being sold. So first of all, to stop children dying, and then we can have a chance, we must have a ceasefire. A ceasefire must be generated so that humanitarian food can arrive to the dying children, to the dying women, to the old, the people who cannot go anywhere except Sudan. So we must now not only look at the generals and put warrants of arrest with United Nations Security Council resolutions, but also go for countries that are supporting these places, arming them with drones, arms, money, buying the gold, trading in small arms that are being racketed around the Nile basin, which we must bring to book. This is possible. You can see it in the capital cities of the neighboring countries, where arms are being ferried into Sudan to continue killing the children. If we don't do that, we are wiping out a generation.
Dr. Matsanga, now let's move to this particular question where seemingly there's a lack of action in the Commonwealth region. Why is this the case? Or are we reading too much into the non-action?
Let me tell you frankly, I just want to take this opportunity to thank President Emerson Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe. If the Commonwealth is the Commonwealth, then the Commonwealth should have suspended some countries whose human rights records are not very good. Nigeria, for example. Cameroon, for example. People are being killed every day. The Commonwealth Secretary General is not like the Commonwealth Secretary Generals that suspended Abacha. We should have suspended Nigeria long time ago. And I'm going to Samoa to seek a suspension of Cameroon and Nigeria from the Commonwealth. 2, Zimbabwe should be readmitted in the Commonwealth if it has applied without conditions. Without conditions, because the Commonwealth right now, we need British people. The United Kingdom needs a lot of markets. It needs development of jobs. The Commonwealth must not allow human rights values to be eroded. Human rights values have been eroded in those countries. We have not taken serious elections are bungled in those countries. You saw the elections are bungled in Nigeria. The elections were bungled. The Commonwealth Secretary General is simply going there to endorse bad behavior of human rights abuses. Nigeria, there is a gentleman who was abducted, locked up in prison, set free for to go home. The court set him free to go home. He was abducted by the Nigerian intelligence system, locked up there, a British national. Who else on earth can have a British national being locked up in a country which you allow to be in the Commonwealth? That's why I am going to Samoa. And I want to laud President Mugabe, President Mnangagwa of Zimbabwe, for sacking his Minister of Foreign Affairs, removing him from the docket, because he has been a conduit of bad foreign policy in that region, and in the region of the Commonwealth and Africa as a whole.
Dr. Matsanga, it's always a pleasure chatting to you, and thank you so much for joining us. Let's leave it there for today.
Thank you very much. God bless you all the time. I will be in Samoa, and don't hesitate to call me. I will be there in the Commonwealth nations of called Chogam. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, Dr. Matsanga. And most definitely we will give you a call just to have a chat about what should be happening there in Samoa. That is political analyst Dr. David Matsanga joining us on the line. It is 12:16 Central African time, and we're coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa.